What's up, my friend? Welcome back to the Action After. And this week we're sitting down and we are looking at Maria Britto's Action After item, which was, are you shying away? All right, this week I want you, as we dive into this Action After, to begin to ask yourself, is there something in your life that you've been shying away from? Is there something that you've been avoiding? Is there something that, you know you should be doing, and when it goes time to go do that thing, you start distracting yourself with something else, right? You go, I know I should do this, and you get, time on your calendar, you are about to start doing it, all of a sudden you go, oh my God, my fridge needs to be cleaned, or I need to go clean the house, or I need to go actually go to the store. And all of a sudden you start doing something that is basically just distracting you from this thing that you actually know that you should be doing. And it's something that you continue to shy away from. And I want you to ask yourself, is this something that you've been shying away from for a day? Or is the reality that you've probably been shying away from taking this action for maybe a week now, maybe 2 weeks, maybe longer than 2 weeks, maybe a month, right? Maybe even longer than that. And the first part of this Action After item is already doing what you're doing right now. And that's discovering what is that action, that action that you are shying away from. And I want you to start to pinpoint that. All right. Many of you, just from kind of hearing what I was just talking about, probably already got that thing. You're like, yeah, that's the one, Stu. That's the one that I just keep pushing off because, it's, and that kind of happens, right? We get caught up, we get tongue tied, we get, caught up in our head. And we never act. So now that you have the thing that you're shying away from, the second question and the second sort of action after, which is going to be a question, is I want you to begin to ask yourself, why are you shying away from this? Why are you shying away from this? Are you shying away from taking this action because you're afraid of the potential result that may happen, right? And maybe it's that you're afraid that you won't get the result that you want, right? Is it that you're afraid that maybe you have to go have a conversation and you're scared that you don't really know what the conversation is going to turn into, right? Is it maybe that you're shying away from anything it could be in your life, right? Maybe it's something to do with your health. Maybe it's something to do with your job. But what is something that you've been shying away from? And ask yourself, why have you been shying away from this? All right. Now, I've had the pleasure, fortunately, to have worked with, at this point, thousands of people literally all over the world in different countries, in the US, Canada, Europe, Australia, all over. And what I've come to find out time and time again after asking people why sometimes there's something you should do, but then you're not doing the thing that you should be doing, right? Where you know what you need to do, but you don't do it. A majority of the time, what I've found out that it boils down to is a 4-letter F word, and it's called fear, right? Fear, right? And it can be fear in many different flavors, we could call it. It could be the fear of rejection, right? It could be the fear of having some conversation and getting rejected and not having it turn out the way that you want, right? It could be the fear of failure, right? It could be the fear that you do something and you fail at it, right? It could be the fear, for some people, really interestingly enough, of success, right? Of saying, well, what if this does go right? What if the things do fall into the right place? Can I sustain this? Is it going to impact other parts of my life? And we get into all these different ways of really fear. And sometimes we use cover-up stories, right? Sometimes we go, well, you know what? I just don't have the time. And we say we don't have the time because it's easier, if we're being honest with ourselves today, to say, I don't have the time than I'm scared to make the time, because what if I make the time and I try the thing and it doesn't work out, right? Sometimes we say, I'll do it tomorrow. And really the reason we're procrastinating is because, again, we're afraid that if we do it today, it could not turn out the way that we want. This is what I've seen after working with thousands of people, is it really, if we're honest with ourselves today, and I hope, if you're listening to me right now, you can be honest with yourself, but a lot of the time it's fear. And I want to share with you a little quote, and I'm going to butcher it a little bit, so my apologies, but it's that a coward dies 1,000 deaths and a courageous man or woman only dies once. And really what it means is that we have so many of these situations, these scenarios, these things that you can shy away from, that if you just analyze in your head over and over and over, and you wait to the next day and the next day and the next week and the next month to do this thing, what you're doing is truly, in a sort of, analogy, you're dying over and over and over as you imagine this scenario, this action you need to take, and then you don't go take it. However, the courageous man or woman that says, that's the thing I need to do, I'm going to go do it. And if it fails, awesome, I'm going to learn. Right? If I get rejected, that's okay. I'm going to go to the next. If I succeed, then amazing. I'm going to embrace this next level in this new level of life that I get to pursue that's more enriching. That's the person that dies once because they said, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. And I think that's sometimes what you want to begin to understand as you look at this thing that you've been shying away from, as if there is fear that's sitting there, which, again, from a lot of people that I've worked with, fear is really sometimes the big one. Acknowledging it and saying, you know what, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And if we sit there and we analyze and we break it down and we wonder what's going to happen and we continue to shy away, that we're only hurting ourselves. We're torturing ourselves because we're sitting there in the same place going through the same thing over and over and over, when the reality is if you just took that action today, tomorrow, you'll have the answer. You'll have the result. You'll know what happened, and then you can take a new action from there, right? There's something, and we talk about it over and over and over, but it's that action creates clarity, right? Action creates clarity. When you take that action, that thing that you've been shying away from, you're going to have clarity on, okay, well, what's the next thing that I need to do? And what you really want to begin to understand as we start to wrap up the action after for today is the people in life that get ahead, the people in life that create a life that they love, the people in life that have a fulfilling life, that have a happy life, an enriched life, they're the people that when those actions come up that the majority of the world would shy away from, they go, I'm going to step into that. I want you to hear that again. The people that live an enriching, a fulfilling, a happy life, they're the people that when those things come into their life where they go, you know what, this is a little uncomfortable and I don't know what's going to happen. And a majority of the world would take this situation I'm in and shy away from and pull back and, put the brakes on. Those people say, I'm going to step into this. I'm going to lean into this. I'm going to push into this. Because they know that taking that action is what's going to get them closer to a life that they actually want. And you want to understand that if you have something you are shying away from, the reason it's not going away is because that is something that is important to you. If it wasn't important from you, it would go away. If it wasn't important for you, it wouldn't continue to poke you and say, hey, I'm over here. Pay attention to me. The reason that continues to happen is because it's important to you. And if it's important to you, you must begin to pursue that thing. All right? So that's the second action after. Hopefully you got an idea of why you've been shying away from this. And if there's a third bonus one we can put on this today, it is lean into that action. Lean into the thing you've been shying away from. And I promise you, you are going to get so much more clarity. You're going to be able to take a better step after that. And you are going to get closer to living a successful, a happy, a fulfilled life because you weren't one of the majority of the world that just sat back and ignored this feeling, this thing you've been shying away from, but you began to step into it. I'm going to leave you with one last quote today as we wrap up. Again, the actions are number 1, what's the thing you've been shying away from? Number 2, why have you been shying away from it? And number 3, lean into it. And the quote that I'm going to give you as we wrap up for today is that successful people, and success not being defined by monetary, but success being defined by someone who's pursuing a worthy ideal or goal, someone that knows what they want and they're pursuing it, right? So the quote is that successful people don't want to do the things that it takes to become successful. They just do it anyway. I'll say it one more time. Successful and unsuccessful people, it's not that they want to do the things that they know they should do, but it's that successful people do it anyway. So if you want that successful life, that fulfilled life, that happy life, go lean in, my friends. If you have not yet, please go to the iTunes store, leave us a review. If you're on Spotify, leave us a rating. Let us know a nugget you got from today. And other than that, I will see you on the podcast next week. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe. Take care, everybody. Cheers.